Hello and welcome to Third Act Film. Today we'll be discussing, is Jon Snow actually dead?
Hmm.
With me is Todd James
Hello.
and I'm James Forbes.
Hello, James.
We're going to try something a bit different here, a bit radical.
Okay, I'm ready.
We're going to be taking sides on this and seeing it more as a debate. Okay? So I'm going to be taking the side that Jon Snow is dead,
Right.
and Todd will be taking the side that Jon Snow is going to return and is not really
Yeah.
dead or whatever.
Okay.
All right.
I'll get us started.
Okay, go for it.
So, everyone wants him to be alive, apart from me and you.
Yeah.
The vast majority of people upset when he died. The main thing you saw, I probably should say spoilers. Little
Yeah.
spoiler warning for Game of Thrones here.
Yeah.
Anyway, the main thing you saw after the end of Series 5 was people saying, "Here are my 16 theories on how he's going to return."
Yeah.
And just all right, I'll just leave you there for now. I'll save some of my big shots for later.
So your point is that we all want him to be alive, so he should be
Partly that people want him to be, but also that there's an overwhelming number of theories and support
in
for
favor of him to
yeah,
come back.
yeah,
Okay. Okay. Um. Now, a lot of my ideas about Game of Thrones comes from kind of trying to think of the author George R. R. Martin
right. I
and
thought
trying
you
to
might play this card.
think like him. He is possibly one of the best story writers of all time.
He's mean.
He's real mean, and he has hurt us in so many ways,
Mm,
certain ways we didn't even know we could be hurt.
mm,
And he has hurt his characters in much harsher ways. You know, take for instance, we were worried about Sansa Stark when she was going to marry um, Bolton,
Ramsey.
Ramsay Bolton.
Yeah,
Thank you. When she was going to marry Ramsay Bolton, we're like, oh, he's going to be so mean to her. He's going to beat her up, and he's going to hurt her. George knew that we felt that way, and he was like, how can I make that worse? Oh, I know. And yeah,
to counter that argument, in the books, which
yeah.
is the thing he wrote, Sansa doesn't get married to Ramsey.
Oh no!
No,
No!
but I will.
Yeah, I knew that as well. He gets
Yeah,
married to like Arya Stark that isn't
like
Arya
fake.
Stark,
Yeah,
a fake Arya
the
Stark.
decoy. Right.
But he is still a producer on the show,
No,
so
I
I'm
know
gonna
what you
give him
mean,
some
and
credit.
he
But
does.
he don't. There are other examples that I'm missing. That he gives us, he shows us one solution, and then either makes it much worse or
Yeah. Well, he's on record
exaggerates it.
saying, you know, I, I put people in these situations, and then they have their realistic outcomes of what it is. It's
Yeah,
not the old, James Bond about to get a laser in the crotch. Like
and then
it's
something explodes, and
yeah.
then he escapes. Yeah. Uh, yeah. So that's my point. You, if you've got something to
Okay.
retaliate, was it a
So
rebuttal?
to counter rebuttal, sir, all of what you just said, true. Lots of people dead, lots of people you like in horrible ways. Wouldn't it be nice if just this once,
Yeah.
something nice happened to a person who is nice? How many really nice people are there in Game of Thrones? I can count them on one hand. Davos
Yeah.
can count them on one hand, and
Oh
he's only got
wow.
half
Come on,
his
man.
fingers.
Yeah.
You know,
True. True. Um, and I guess if Jon Snow was to come back, we can all be like, this is it. This is the one miracle
yeah,
that we've waited 5 seasons, or we've
yeah,
waited, however many years for the books, which has been even much longer.
much, much
Yeah,
longer.
a
Yeah,
much bigger struggle. Yeah,
yeah, and it would just and I think it as well would open the door a little bit to who else can we see now? Like think about, and that in a way can work both ways because I love the Hound, and he
yeah,
may or may not be dead. I'd love to see him come back,
yeah.
but do you know what's even better than that?
Clegane.
Thinking there's a chance of him coming back and then him not coming back. Because then I'm going to
Yeah,
be like, what happened to the Hound?
yeah,
At the end of season 7 or whatever, I'll be like, the Hound, he just never came
yeah.
back.
And
Clegane Bowl. Yeah.
yeah, and as well, I feel like what R. R. Martin loves doing is having the theories. I tell you, something that's quite fun to do, quite torturous, and it's probably what all the book readers have
Hmm.
done to us TV show watchers. Is just I want someone watches the first 3 or 4 episodes. Just say to them, "Oh, so what do you think's gonna happen? Like in general,
Who's your favorite character there, huh?
who's your favorite
You a fan
character?"
of Ned Stark,
Brilliant
are you?
question. And
Yes.
so many people would be like, "Oh yeah, I think well, Ned Stark, he's gonna conquer and become the new king." And I think
Anyone
that
who's
this is
ever
the
read
same
any book or
story.
seen any film will say,
Yeah.
"Oh yeah, Ned Stark, good guy. He's got a lot to do."
And this is the exact same thing. Season 1, Ned Stark, we're like, great guy, he's definitely going to rule, gets killed. Season 3, well, leading from season 2 onto season 3, Robb Stark, King of the North.
Hmm.
He manages to do so well,
Remember that rousing
win so
scene
many
where they were all
battles.
like, "A king in the north," and
Yeah,
even
yeah,
me, a Southerner for life, was like, "Yeah, go on the north."
yeah. And you wanted him to win.
And then what happened?
And then him and his pregnant
And his
wife
mum
get, and his
and
mum,
all of his friends.
yeah, all killed.
Yeah,
And then
and his
we
pet.
get to Yeah, and then it's stuck on his head. Yeah, and then we get to season 5 when after the red wedding, we all lost hope.
Hmm.
We're like, there's no bloody way. But then you kind of think, wait a second. Well, there's still Arya Stark. There's still Bran Stark. There's still some Starks out there, and there's still Jon Snow, and he's at the wall fighting a much different battle
Hmm.
than his kind of brother and father.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's the same trick. He's done the same
Yeah.
trick twice already, and he's doing it a third time, and we're all still like, well,
That Jon
that
Snow.
Melisandre, yeah.
I don't know whose side you're fighting here, yours or mine.
I'm just saying that he is actually dead.
Right.
This is again, he is actually dead. George R. R. Martin has tricked us for a third time to kind of you leave little clues as to
Yeah.
how he could come back. I know in the books it's not as obvious because
Yeah.
in the TV show, Melisandre returns and then Jon Snow dies.
Yeah.
And whilst in books, Melisandre, I believe she's already
Yeah.
there and Jon Snow dies. So it's kind of like, oh yeah, Melisandre's there.
Mm.
Uh, but I think both ways the outcome is that he's still dead.
But you suggested this idea to me in our s- uh, season
Season
six
6.
prediction sort of thing. Wouldn't it be
Yeah.
great if he came back only to the next episode get killed in a much more convincing and
Yeah.
full stop way? That's
Yeah.
why I want him to come back. I
That
would
would
love it
be.
if he came back because there'd be people who were like, oh, oh now everyone's got hope again. Then just
Yeah.
like off with his head.
Yeah. And like have the head roll and then his eyes just stare at you and you're like, there's no way he's coming back.
Just an exact
And
recreation
then
of,
burn
of,
it.
of his first death.
Yeah.
Just that shot of, but it's just his head, like just
Yeah.
his severed head
Yeah.
bleeding out. Yeah.
I was reading some of the comments from our previous video
Mhm.
and we did have some criticism for that point.
Right.
One point being like we were under the understanding that if he came back alive, he's just going to get killed again by the same people. Why would they not do it again?
Yeah.
Why would you like, oh well, he's back alive now, better quit hating him.
Right.
Like
Me
you
and
can only
all
kill a
of
guy
these,
once.
like 100 people,
Yeah.
better be scared of this one guy.
And the comments said a really good point. Said that he does have friends, and he has a lot of friends. Remember, you got to remember he won by majority vote to become the commander.
Yeah,
Yeah?
but I think, but then
And
since he became commander and he, chummied up with the wildlings,
yeah,
they,
their opinions may have
yeah.
wavered,
So he probably
but
still has some supporters.
there's still a core group. And if
Yeah.
he's back alive, he's like, oh yeah, all of those guys killed me,
Get him.
and I'm the command. I'm still commander. If he
Yeah.
wants to go that route, I'm now going to kill you all. I'm in charge here, and I'm putting you all to be executed. Oh, I know you killed me. I was the one there.
I saw it. I
Yeah,
heard your voice for the watch.
and I know each one who did it, and he's got that imprinted as his last memory.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So, yeah, I feel like you're really helping my corner of why he should come back. Like, wouldn't
yeah,
that be
no,
good?
it's a bit weird.
Yeah. Yeah, and
It's the more hopeful solution.
but what I'm saying is, wouldn't it be good if we got that hope for the first time in Game of Thrones? We got that hope, only to
Yeah.
then have it taken away.
Yeah. So you don't even want him back permanently. You
No,
just want him back
I don't really want him back at
temporarily.
all. But
Yeah,
you know,
if he's gonna
someone had
come
to fight
back.
this argument.
Yeah,
But I would love it if he came back for him to then die again.
yeah. But I can kind of also see him coming back. Think how many more books have we got? We've got
Two,
two books.
I think.
Think how many TV seasons we've got?
Two,
Two, maybe
right?
three. So if he was to return now, then the gears for the next book
Mhm.
will be in hyperdrive. That makes no sense, but it'll be
Right.
really fast, really high gears,
Yeah.
and because you'll be like, okay, finally, we're actually going to get to some form of a solution, and here is our leader that represents that. Here is someone who's going to be the driving force. Because at the moment, everyone's just everywhere. Everyone's dying everywhere. It's complete despair.
Yeah.
It's kind of the Empire Strikes Back moment of Star Wars. I saw you roll your
The
eyes
Empire
there.
Strikes Back moment of Game of Thrones, you mean?
Yeah,
Right.
in Star Wars, but yeah, Empire
Right.
Strikes
Right.
Back
Yeah.
moment of where everything is up against the wall. Is again, it's
Yeah.
going back to my earlier
No
point.
one's
It's
in a good
great
place at the
storytelling,
moment.
but I'm going to use that same point to say
Right.
that yeah, it's the worst point, and that the solution isn't this obvious. That the solution doesn't include Jon Snow. We got to still remember there are three, four other Stark kids out there:
Bran. Oh
Sansa,
yeah.
Bran,
Rickon.
Rickon,
Don't forget
and
about Rickon.
don't forget about Rickon and
Yeah.
Arya. And they have managed to work their way down through the Starks and kill them all. If
In
if
age order.
in age order,
Right.
yeah. If we kind of if you kind of think, okay, the real heroes the whole time have been the Starks, that it wasn't a lie how he had set up. You know, when you watch the first season, you're like, well, the Starks are the heroes and the bad guys are the Lannisters. If that same thought is being carried on, but just kind of without us realizing, because we're just like, oh, the Starks just keep getting killed. There's still four more. Arya
We're only
can
halfway
now,
actually, if you think about it. Pretty much.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
halfway through the
Yeah.
Starks, yeah. So Arya can kill, will soon be able to kill anybody, as she can change her face in a moment.
Yeah.
Uh, Sansa Stark, if she plays her cards right, she can be the
She gets the
kind
Greyjoys
of
on board, and they get the Boltons, and you
if
know,
she gets the Greyjoys on board, and if she can marry to a nice family who will look after her, and have an army who can, seek vengeance for her, then as well you've got Bran Stark who's going to learn the abilities to fly, apparently,
well,
or
to
learn
control something that flies.
to
Yeah.
control something. Yeah, but he's going to have the abilities to control other people, and possibly even there's theories out there to be able to connect to, I forget the name of them. They're the trees that cry.
The
Uh,
weirwood trees. Yeah.
Weirwood trees, that he's possibly able
Yeah.
to connect through that kind of network of things and be super powerful. And then Rickon, we have no idea about Rickon. We have
He
no
could
idea
have
where
just
he
been
is.
training. He could have just had
Lost,
like four
yeah,
seasons of Rocky montage. He's probably
yeah.
ripped right now.
Well, we did see him in San Andreas, and he
Oh right,
couldn't really
yeah. He was
change.
quite
Yeah,
irritating, but yeah.
the film San Andreas, not like Todd and I went for a
Just hanging
visit.
out
Like,
in
oh,
California. Oh my god,
Rickon.
it's Rickon! Although that
Yeah,
would have also been good.
that would be good. But
So before you keep waffling, I'm going to make another point.
go on.
Right? A Song of Ice and Fire.
Oh
Right?
wow, what does that
It's
mean?
combined with. Wait, let me get this right. R plus L equals J.
That's correct.
Right?
Yeah, the old
Which
theory.
is basically the theory of Jon Snow's parentage.
Yeah,
Um,
that Rhaegar
yeah,
Targaryen and Lyanna
yeah.
Stark. Rhaegar Targaryen being Daenerys Targaryen older brother, and Lyanna Stark being Ned Stark's
Sister. Yeah.
sister.
That Jon Snow isn't actually Ned Stark's son. He is the child of the two people we just said.
Yeah,
And so, i.e., a song of ice and fire, ice being the Starks, fire being the Targaryens. Like this is Jon Snow's song. This whole thing.
yeah,
When they're singing it, yeah. So what if there's a verse about Littlefinger? You know, it's his song,
yeah,
and that it would be quite poetic.
yeah.
You know, I didn't say that with any sass at all. But yeah,
No,
it would be. You know, that's that is really the best theory. I mean, there's also White
That's the
Walkers
biggest
versus
theory.
Dragons is sort of a Song of Ice and
A
Fire,
Song of Ice and Fire, yeah,
but
and the kind of Azor High
yeah,
kind of being a someone with that importance
yeah,
in Song of Ice and Fire. Yeah, yeah, and it. But do we really think us commoners, us, us people
us
who
peasants,
sat
flea
and
bottom.
read or watched the show and were like, oh, I'm totally clued up, and then they kill Ned Stark. I'm like, oh, what? You can't kill him. And then we carry on and we see the Red Wedding. And we're like, what? You can't kill all those people all at once. That's
Yeah.
not allowed. Do we really
Even
think
5 seasons in, I was like, Stannis, don't burn your daughter.
yeah,
I just didn't
yeah.
believe it.
Do we really think that we can now be second guessing the creators of this? Like, do you really think that we're in the position that we're like, you know what? I've studied, I've learned, and the solution is that Jon Snow will return as he
Yeah.
is. You know what I mean?
And I also kind of feel like even if this was the original idea,
Yeah,
it's been said so much and everyone's figured it out that if I was George R. R. Martin, I'd be tempted to be like, no, I'm going to do something else.
yeah,
Because I think he likes surprising people or surprising his readers. He is one way to put it.
yeah,
And if he did like the most spoken about, even though it is a great idea and he set it up so well,
yeah,
it's just a shame that everyone's figured it out. If
yeah.
I was him, I'd be tempted to be like, no, no, you're
I'm
wrong,
just gonna change gears
wrong.
here. I don't know what me
It
and
was
gears.
all about Sir Pounce. Yeah.
The cat the whole time. Yeah, um, yeah. And I just think it's so obviously that Jon Snow is going to come back alive,
Mm.
that then it's just like, well, no, he's not then. If we think that so much, if we think
Yeah.
of his parentage, if we all like, yeah, well, I know who his parents are, I know that secret, it's not like he hid it like that well.
No.
You know what I mean?
It was
He's,
obvious enough that
yeah,
every
that
nerd with a
everyone
computer
knows
was
it.
like, "Oh right, yeah, I get it."
Everyone knows,
Yeah.
and like, no one's when you hear it, you're like, oh my god, and then you're like, oh okay, and then you accept it, and you're like,
Mm.
oh, it's just part of the story now. But there's no one who has said it outright. No one has said outright that this has happened,
No.
at least not yet.
Right.
That R and L make J
Right. In the Tower of Joy.
in the Tower of
Yeah.
Joy. But see now this links into my other point
Okay.
of just originality and just everyone trying to second guess, which I believe is the biggest plague of this series at the moment. Is everyone trying to
Mm.
jump the gun and be like, well, obviously he's come back alive, and obviously his parents are this. One of the criteria for anyone who wanted to make Game of Thrones into a film or
Mhm.
into a TV
Yeah,
series,
I know.
and George R. R. Martin got plenty of offers, plenty. It was a
Dating
brilliant
back to the
story.
early '90s, I think, were
Yeah,
the earliest offers. Yeah.
and he turned down every single one. This has been the first one that they've managed to get the rights,
Mm.
and the kind of one of the many tests that he did,
Yeah.
but one of the tests that he did is he just said the question, "Who do you think are Jon Snow's parents?"
The way I picture it is that the studio were giving him like a big 2 hour pitch, and he just sat
Yeah,
silently looking at them, just not
yeah,
caring about anything else. And he was like,
no,
"So who's Jon Snow's mum then?" And they were
yeah,
like, "What?"
yeah,
Yeah.
and and the fact that that was a deciding factor
Yeah.
in allowing these I forget the names.
Uh, Dan and Dave are their first names.
That's it, D and D.
Benioff
Yeah,
and Vice. Anyway,
yeah. Oh, good
I
memory.
know.
But
It's almost like I
that
watched the show.
yeah, innit? And see that those names every
Yeah.
episode. Yeah. But the fact that D&D were able
D&D,
to, yeah, that's
Dungeons
the
and
nickname.
Dragons.
Yeah, that they were able to secure the deal
Hmm.
based on their knowledge of the material. Kind of makes me think, and as well, we know that D&D are great storytellers because they're able to blend in like seamlessly new plots for the
Hmm.
and change existing story plots for the TV series from the book.
But now imagine you're them,
Yeah,
and you have this big meeting with George R. R. Martin, and he's like, "So who's?" And they're like, "Oh, that must mean Jon Snow's really important." And then you have your next meeting. He's like, "So Jon Snow's dead," and
yeah,
they're like, "What?"
that'd be quite weird.
Yeah.
But then I think if you're able to have sussed it out, perhaps they're like, I think you've told the truth. I think the biggest bluff is that you've told the truth. That um,
Yeah. The
that
mere
Ned
fact that we're
Stark,
talking about it right now means
yeah,
that it's obviously up for debate.
and that a lot of the theories that kind of show that Jon Snow is so important
Hmm.
stems from that.
Yeah.
It stems from his changed parentage, and if George R. R. Martin is able to make us believe that we've sussed him out. We're like, ah, yes, those are his real parents, and then that builds up a bigger theory of, well, if those are his parents, the Song of Ice and Fire, the kind of prophecy coming from Azor Ahai, that it has to be, the Targaryen blood
Hmm.
to become Azor Ahai, and then you've got there's many other points. There's people who've done much better videos about it. I'm not going to go into it now,
Right.
but the certain prophecy about this kind of chosen one, Zorahai, who's going to, save everyone, is all based on something that we have no real evidence for.
Hmm.
So it's all stems back. So if you wanted to tell the most convincing lie, have evidence that is based on nothing. You know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
so you get to the theory, and then you're like, well, I've got evidence from here, here. I've got these 5 different sources of evidence, but then you're not analyzing those pieces of evidence. Are they reliable?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's what I'm just like. George R. R. Martin is way smarter than us. He's been writing books way longer than anyone has,
Yeah.
and he knows. He
Way
just
longer
knows.
than anyone has.
Anyone.
Right.
There's no one who's written books longer than him.
Right.
Fact.
Ever in
Stamp.
history. Right.
I may just do like a collage of pictures of everyone who has. um,
Yeah.
but yeah, he knows storytelling and he
Yeah.
gets it, and he's like, oh, okay, well, if they believe this part, it'll help them to believe this, and then it'll make Jon Snow feel so much more important. So then it's so much more shocking when he's been gatted.
See, he probably knows all of this. That people are thinking all of this right now.
Yeah,
He probably just set this all up intentionally to make
yeah.
us be only to yeah kill Jon Snow for
Only to
reals,
kill him for real,
for reals.
and then all of us be like,
Yeah.
which in the TV series it was kind of shocking, but more just depressing.
Yeah. Because
And,
there was
and
like no music. It
yeah,
was a really short scene as well. There was like hardly any build up to it.
yeah,
It was like, oh, we found Benjen, like
yeah,
stabbed in the back like 4 times. And we're like, oh,
yeah,
the watch. And then I looked over at
yeah,
my mum and she was crying. I was like, well, that's just making me more upset.
yeah, yeah. Um, and I think it does help with the kind of it's all lost. What is
Yeah.
the solution? You know what I mean? I
If
can't
he's
see a
not
solution.
alive,
Yeah,
I don't know why I still watch it. You
yeah,
know, even though I'd love it if he
ah,
wasn't alive.
yeah.
But
That's so many people have said that as well. I've seen a lot of comments and a lot of people
mm,
kind of angry. They're like, I don't know why I watch this show anymore, and it's just a bit like
that
it's
feeling is exactly why I watch it.
yeah.
It's so
That
different
is so
anyway.
depressing. It's like self harm.
Just emotional damage. In
Yeah,
30 years' time, there's going to be loads of people in therapy. Just
yeah,
it all stems back to watching HBO's Game of Thrones. Right.
yeah.
Have you got any more points for me about why he should be dead?
Well, he should be
Yeah.
dead. Well, he's done what he needed to do. All right. He isn't
What?
Azor Ahai.
No, he hasn't.
Sure, he has. He's done
No,
everything
he
he
hasn't
needed to
fought off
achieve.
the White Walkers.
Who said he needed to? He had that
Everyone.
great. He had that great stare off with him, and that was
Right.
that was his victory. There are never victories that are like yeah. There are victories that are like oh that was
That was
sensible.
a close one.
Yeah, that was a close one. And
Yeah.
the victory was that they managed to take a couple of thousand of the wildlings from beyond the wall to past the wall, instead of letting those all join the army of the dead. That was a small victory, and
Yeah.
Jon Snow achieved what he needed to do.
But the reason he should come back is because he's the only one that really knows. Maybe Sam, but
Sam knows, yeah,
he
and the people and
has
the
more
crows that went
experience
with him.
with them. He's the only one who realizes how much of a threat this is.
Yeah,
Apart from some of the other Night's Watch who just
yeah,
stabbed him, I guess. But
yeah, yeah, yeah,
that you see, if he doesn't come back, the
yeah.
White Walkers are just gonna. They don't even need to fight. They can just like
Walk
literally
through.
walk straight through the wall,
Yeah,
and everyone's gonna be hacking at them, and they'll just be like, bloop,
yeah.
zombie army.
It also goes with but I'm agreeing with everything you're saying.
Right.
If he is dead, it just allows the White Walkers to get to the wall. It allows them to, no one's there to get everyone involved, and the
Mhm.
wildlings and the crows are just fighting each other,
Yeah.
whilst the White Walker's like, "Oh, hey guys,
Whilst the
like,
Night's King just,
yeah,
guys,
okay,
I'll just wait
I'll
here.
just wait whilst you both kill each other,
Yeah.
and then I'll resurrect you and you join my army." Exactly.
Win-win. Really. Yeah.
White Walkers will always win that way, and it goes along with one of my theories. Well, it's not a theory, but if you've had a book or a TV show that
Mm.
has a wall quite prominent in it, we see it nearly
I
every
think I know what you're
episode.
about to say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we see it in
See it
every
on the titles
episode on
every
the
week.
titles
Yeah.
every week. It's quite important, and everyone talks about it.
Yeah.
So many people live there. It's
Hundreds
a
of
much
years it's been there.
thousands of
Thousands.
years.
My mistake.
It's been there, and it's a really long wall. We've only seen a small fraction of
Yeah.
it.
Only
'Cause
really
it's
Castle Black and the bit
yeah,
that they've climbed, I
yeah.
guess.
Because there are many more
Yeah.
towers to
Yeah.
it that used to have was flooded with people. That they had tons of crows,
Yeah.
and we got to the point where there's such a little
So
team
few
there
of the Night's Watch left.
that
Yeah.
they've had to downsize just to one tower. That if you've built this wall, you've put so much history behind it, and it's so important. It's literally what stops the White Walkers from coming in. You know what I'm saying?
It's coming down.
It is
That wall
coming
is coming down at some
down.
point. Yeah.
It is coming down. And imagine that. Imagine, we've got another video either out or coming out where we discuss about King Tommen if he was to die,
Oh yeah.
how quickly this show would change.
Yeah.
How quickly would it change if the wall got smashed down? And would the wall be able to be smashed down if Jon Snow was still alive?
Well, it depends. If they have like a big White Walker wrecking ball, then maybe.
Yeah.
But isn't there in the books? They haven't mentioned it in the show. I don't think there's like a
Horn?
horn. Yeah, like
Yeah.
and then the
Yeah.
wall
I
just
think
crumbles
it's been
down.
shown in the show,
Right.
but I'd have to watch the whole show again
Yeah.
to see that one
I
clip.
don't remember seeing it.
Yeah. Yeah. That horn.
Just I want you,
Supposedly
if you
knock it down.
can, when you're editing this, get
Yeah.
the shot from the show of the horn and put it over the bit where I say I don't remember seeing it.
Yeah. Um. So I'm just a bit like, okay, so he has fulfilled what he's done, not what we expected him to do.
Mm.
So going back, it's this Ned Stark, Robb Stark, Jon Snow. That it's the same thing happening for the third time, and we're still fooled by it.
Starks again and again and again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that you had Ned Stark, and we all think that, oh, he's going to become the new leader. No, all his goal was
Mm.
that George R. R. Martin, all that he had to do, all he had to achieve, was reveal to certain people, mainly Stannis, that the Baratheon children of Joffrey, Tommen, and Myrcella,
The Baratheon inverted commas.
inverted
Yeah.
commas, that they were illegitimate, which would then allow Stannis to have a claim on the throne,
Mhm.
and to kind of kickstart this whole battle of five kings. He fulfilled that, but we thought he had to do more. But he had fulfilled what he needed to do, and then off his head come. Then King Rob,
Off
you
his
know,
head come.
and then, um, and then King Rob, King of the North,
Yeah.
united all of the North.
Great.
Yeah,
What a moment.
brought them all together.
Yeah.
Went to a wedding with all of the leaders
Love
who were
weddings.
aligned to the Starks, who were really angry for some reason that they killed Ned Stark and who were going to go to war with, who were at war with the South. Killed all of them in the same room, and what? And what does that clear up? It clears up a massive void in the north to allow the Lannisters and the people at King's Landing to secure their hold on the rest of Westeros.
Yeah.
So then you can put someone in power like the Boltons, and then when it builds up to the bigger image of the bigger battle, which we all realised when we had that episode with the White Walkers
Mhm.
and Jon Snow and the White Walker, the King of the
Night's King.
Night's King, staring down each other.
Mhm.
That is the bigger story,
Mhm.
and it wouldn't be so important if Robb Stark had won back in season 3, like he had
Yeah.
won the battle.
If everything else was happy,
Yeah,
and then Jon Snow sends a letter to his brother Rob,
yeah. He's
then
like,
Rob's like,
oh,
"Oh, we better we better sort something out here.
yeah.
We better
Like-
see to this issue
He sends
before it
one letter.
becomes a dilemma."
Yeah, let's send all of the northern men to the north,
Yeah.
where they're acclimatized to,
hmm
because they've said it before, like all of the southern warriors can't fight in the snow.
Right.
So let's get all of the best snow fighters we have.
Plus
to
the
s-
Mountain and Brienne. Just stick
Yeah.
them in there.
Yeah, Let's
Yeah.
get all of the best fighters that we have to fight him, because Jon Snow, my brother, the person I was raised with,
Mm-hmm.
who I have 100% respect for, and always have. He never,
And
Rob,
Commander of the Night's Watch.
and
Right.
and Commander of tonight's watch.
Let's help him out. Let's
Yeah.
throw him a bone this once. It'll
Yeah.
help us out in the long run.
In the long run, you know what? I think he's telling the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean. And even if it was Ned Stark had won,
Yeah.
and Jon Snow had still gone to Castle Black. I think he went to Castle Black very
Yeah,
very
yeah.
early on, didn't he? So Ned Stark had won, and he's now in charge. He would also listen to Jon Snow.
Or even,
like,
Robert Baratheon's still alive. Ned Stark has handed the king.
yeah,
Yeah, it would be great.
yeah. That everything has happened because it had to create the situation we're in now of such tension that the people in the South do not care. Even the Boltons do not care, and they're they're the closest.
They're first to go once the war
They'll
goes
be the first
down.
to go. Yeah, they're the closest to the wall and to the action,
Mm.
and it creates this tension of you've got these naive people on the right, and you've got doom on the left.
Mm.
Yeah,
Left and right. I think you mean like south and north. It's all the same, really.
Yeah.
It's one direction and another
Yeah.
direction.
Yeah.
Yeah. There is one more thing I want to say just before we wrap it up.
okay.
There's Kit Harington has been seen with long hair in Belfast,
What?
and this is making everyone think that he's going to be back in Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
I just want to say to anyone that's like losing their mind over this,
Yeah.
all this headline is man in city has hair.
Yeah.
That it's not a big deal.
Well, there is a bit more to it.
Maybe a bit more, but he's filming a film this summer. They're
Yeah.
like right slap bang in the middle of Game of Thrones scheduling.
Yeah.
So just calm down about it.
Yeah.
And he might be filming because they need his corpse for a scene.
Yeah.
Where he's getting burnt, or a
Yeah.
flashback scene or something.
I can't really see any interest in flashback scenes with Jon Snow.
No,
To be honest, we've seen most of his adult
true.
life.
We see all the interesting bits. Before
Yeah.
that, it was just archery, I guess.
Happened to be there. Hi.
All right, but you get my
Yeah,
point. It's
I get
just
your point.
People
Yeah.
need to calm down about this stuff.
But I know it'll be hilarious when he comes back alive and people remind us of this video. Like, I remember that time when you argued the point that he was dead and how that didn't happen, and that whole Tower of Joy thing. Yeah, that was actually really relevant. Like, oh,
Yeah, well, I think what we're kind of saying is we don't know, and it could go either way.
yeah.
But
But I'm gonna say it. I'm saying it right now. He's dead.
I
He's real dead.
hope so.
And there are more heroes than just Jon Snow. There's
You
still
see, that's another
Daenerys.
point.
Yeah.
Supporting
There are
you
more heroes.
that I'm about to make
Yeah. Thanks.
is that if Jon Snow's got before this, it was Jon Snow, Daenerys, Tyrion, and
Yeah.
it was basically like pick your favorite,
Yeah.
and you were in their camp. Now with Jon Snow gone, it means someone else can rise to prominence.
Yeah.
Davos, for example.
I do. I wanted to see what's Davos.
I love Davos.
He's great.
Or we could have Jorah.
Yeah.
Oh, Jorah.
Jorah
Stannis.
Mormont.
Oh wait, no, not him.
Maybe not Stannis. No.
Anyway, what do you guys think? Who's right? Is Jon Snow coming back or not?
Yeah. Give me an answer, right?
Yeah, guys.
Damn it! I want to know.
I know you clicked on this video expecting we were going to tell you, but now we want you to tell us.
Yeah.
But yeah, share any thoughts in the comments. Thanks for listening, guys. Bye.
Bye.
From showing her, like, just chopping him half.
Yeah. Game of Thrones ain't shy to that.
But he had, like, the least... What was he ever... Like, oh, since it's up
Yeah.
for grabs, I'll put my name in the hat. Hey,
Oh yeah. You
Shame.
know that woman that everyone spat on and walked down naked down the street? Yeah, she's now in charge.